You're good.
Welcome into Calling the Game, an opportunity for a sports writer and a scientist to get together and talk about all things sporting good, whether they be good, bad, ugly, complete dumpster fires, or just sort of existing. I'm Chris Lynch.
I'm Thomas Villalone Jr.
And the playoffs have simultaneously intrigued me, made me laugh, made me bored, and made me just, Boston, I love you dearly, but come on, Bruins and Celtics. Come on, refs. Stop robbing Charlie McAvoy of goals. Come on, everyone on the Celtics except Isaiah Thomas.
And
Stop
meanwhile,
I'm
still a Spurs fan.
Shut up. Okay, granted, I'm a Patriots fan, so I really can't say anything.
You can't complain too much, but man, we only got one team. And we're making the most of them.
Yeah, you're probably going to...
Let's start with the real nitty-gritty in the NHL.
Okay, so we're going to update on the... Let's go series by series. And do we want to do the completed ones to just get them out of the way first?
Yeah, let's just go. So first one, Pittsburgh versus the Blue Jackets.
You thought, yeah, we were really disappointed in the outcome of this one because we wanted a 7-game series, we didn't get it.
The Blue Jackets live and die by Sergei The Blue Jackets live and die by Sergei Bobrovsky.
Hi, recurring guest person in the background. Hey. What up, recurring guest?
Matt Merrick once again making an appearance.
Yeah, yay. Yay,
Clearly we don't have enough wire to fix all our problems here.
You have enough of anything to fix any of your problems?
Patience is in short supply, but I have enough just to finish.
Do you have enough duct tape to finish everything?
Duct tape is not the answer. Duct tape is never the answer. I don't care what people say. WD-40 is. There you go.
Oh, right. In scientific situations, it's really WD-40. That's the answer to everything. In real life, it's duct tape.
Whatever. So the dumpster fire that is the Blue Jackets versus Pittsburgh, and I do mean dumpster fire because those goals going into the back of Bobrovsky's net,
those didn't look good.
Rockets.
Yeah. Pittsburgh is a glass cannon, but when they are firing, they are firing.
Yeah.
And to be fair, their goaltending situation, Matt Murray was out for this series after injuring himself in warm-ups.
Yep.
At the start of this series. But, just good job, gentlemen. Outstanding work. Truly, this is the work of some mad genius. But worth noting that in the game they played tonight, it was a 5-2 victory for the Penguins. And Phil Kessel got the first goal of the game near the halfway point of the first period. And then within the first 5 minutes, Brian Rust got a goal 1:07 in. And Brian Rust got 2 goals, actually.
Yeah, he did.
At the 350 mark. And then Columbus got 2 goals from William Karlsson and Boone Jenner before the second period expired and cut it down to 1.
Yeah, so it was a 1
to be
game.
fair, they made it close, and then
and then Crosby,
he's pretty good. And then less than a minute later, Scott Wilson got the 5th goal.
And meanwhile, in the net for the Penguins,
Marc-Andre Fleury, who's been their star goaltender for a while, and the last time, worth noting this, the last time that there was a playoff game between the Penguins and the Blue Jackets in Columbus, there is this laughable moment when Marc-Andre Fleury is trying to play a puck. He basically gives it right on to a Blue Jacket who puts it in the back of his own net to force a Game 7 back in Pittsburgh. Then, of course, the Penguins win, but it
shouldn't have gotten there.
Oh, no, it's consistently looked at one of these moments that shows that Marc-Andre Fleury's skill and attention as a goaltender has gone from great to good to questionable at times. And
but meanwhile, tonight, he reascended the mount.
Well, he made 49 saves facing 51 shots.
That's pretty good.
That's outstanding.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so we can't say anything about he's the starting goaltender. Even if Matt Murray comes back, Fleury is the starting goaltender moving forward. So don't worry, Murray. You were the starting goaltender on a Stanley Cup winner. You'll be fine.
And moving on to the next series that has just wrapped up.
The actual dumpster fire.
The Blackhawks stock is falling faster right now than the Dow in the last recession.
And that is being generous.
That's a sweep.
That was a
sweep.
And it was a particularly bad close. They got their asses beat.
The first
4-1.
The first game won 1-0.
Not a lot of shame in that.
5-0.
And both of those games, by the way, were in the United Center, which is which is one of the best buildings to play in the National Hockey League.
Mhm.
They got completely annihilated. So the third game
And
in Nashville was actually very close.
that was
It went to
competitive. That
overtime.
was an overtime one.
So no shame in games 1 or 3, but games 2 and games 4, just, boy, lordy. Amanda, our friend, your team is actually moving on in the playoffs for the second year in a row.
Get on cloud 9 right now, Amanda.
She already is. I am sure she absolutely is.
So they wrapped it up tonight, 4-1.
And it wasn't even that close, really. So who would these teams move on to face next?
So the Blackhawks.
Chicago's the top
They
overall
were
in
the
the
top.
West.
Yeah, they were the top West. Nashville was 8.
I don't think I'm gonna pull up a bracket somewhere.
Yeah, the bracket's here somewhere.
So, but if my iPad would agree with me, the Wi-Fi is actually agreeing with me. But oh well, details.
All right. So looking at the bracket right here.
Whenever it decides to help us out a little bit.
So we've got. Oh, come on. All right. The winner of Nashville Blackhawks faces the winner of Wild Blues.
Ooh, and
About that, we can probably guess
yeah.
who's up next.
you know, there's a YouTube channel called Urinating Tree that does sports stuff, and I showed him the NHL preview that it does
Yep.
called "The Haters Guide to the NHL Playoffs."
Wasn't that far off.
Well, the in its Stanley Cup Finals prediction, it was. He he predicted the
Montreal versus Blackhawks. Yeah, like that one's happening now.
Yeah, about that. Well, he added his final line on the Blues was probably another illustrious year to add to your history of failure. Because the Blues made the Stanley Cup Finals in their first 2 years of existence and lost. Both
Well,
of them.
if we can continue on that trend, then
Uh,
Anaheim swept Calgary. Who'd have thunk?
Sweeps. You know, at least Anaheim is a consistently good team, and I know the team they want to face in the next round simply because they despise the San Jose Sharks.
Yep. Speaking of which,
That is actually a close game.
I think the series now we need to watch the youth versus the age.
Yeah.
How much gristle do you like in your steak versus how fresh do you like it?
This is a bad comparison. I like actual fresh meat.
I actually like $2 steaks.
God, you are a cheap date. No wonder Walker likes you.
Hey, I'll take it.
Yeah, you'll take anything.
that's I guess it's only part of my problem then.
Walker, good work for you for being patient.
I am equal opportunity. I rest my case.
I never accused you of anything less than that. So
I still see San Jose.
I think I picked the Sharks to win as well, simply because
you picked
playoffs.
Edmonton.
Did I?
Connor
yeah, I
McDavid.
did. So the last time these teams played, it was a holy crap. Game 4 was in Edmonton. It was a 7-0 demolition of the young and developing Edmonton Oilers.
So the next game is tonight, and currently I believe they are tied 1-1.
Yeah, they just got done with the first period. So we'll be paying attention to this game throughout the duration of this podcast.
Burnsy, if you have to lose more teeth, do it.
Good luck, dude. Duck Dynasty duo, you have to lead the charge. Also, Martin Jones has played an excellent series. Again, I've never questioned his ability in net. In fact, go back and look at the Kings when they won the Cup in 2014. Jones was actually a big contributor as the backup goaltender because Quick missed a big portion of the season. Jones had to come up from the Manchester Monarchs and fill in for them.
So here's the thing. It looks like the total number of shots is fairly level, I think.
Okay.
So
through the first period, it was what, 12 to
12 to 11.
Okay, that's very close. That's very close, and that's as exciting as you can get.
We'll see.
Yeah. So I think we've got ourselves an excellent series brewing here, and I've always liked the sort of matchup between the youth and the experience. I still think Connor McDavid should win the Hart Trophy for MVP of the league because he's that great, and he's in his second season.
Yep.
So I think he should win the Hart Trophy. Austin Matthews should absolutely win the Calder Trophy for Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
I'm not sure who ought get the Vezina. It'll probably go to Braden Holtby again, probably. Or either Holtby or Sergey.
Sergey, yeah.
But depends on there's still time to go.
Yeah.
So this one is actually close and competitive. So thank you guys. Thank you, West Coast, for giving us a competitive series. We like you very much.
Real quick, we'll wrap up the West Coast, actually, I believe.
Yeah.
We're wrapping up the West Coast with Minnesota versus St. Louis.
3-1.
The fat lady is beginning to warm up quite well.
In the wings, singing on the Wild side. And I think they're playing tomorrow night.
No, the Blues are up.
No. I think No. Preparing to sing in honor of
yes,
the Wild. But I think they're playing tomorrow night, right?
Yes, it's tomorrow.
No.
No,
that's
it's
the 22nd. 2 days.
22nd.
Okay, so Saturday.
And now we get back to the East.
Yeah. Can we get
It ain't a good time to be a Bruins fan, ladies and gentlemen.
Can I have a moment to rant and rave about this as a Bruins fan?
You may mow down the roses.
Mr. Officials, please stop. Just please stop. There's only so much that we can possibly take of your stupid shenanigery and nonsense. So, game 1, close. Bruins win by a goal. Late Brad Marchand gets it in Ottawa, and we're feeling good. Game 2, it's the Bruins' own darn fault that they have a 2-goal lead at the start of the third period and lose it. That's on them in Ottawa, but they still came out with a sweep. Still felt pretty good. Game 3 on Patriots Day, the Bruins fell behind 3-0, stormed back, and tied the game up, and it went to overtime. And the officials made an egregious call that gave Ottawa a power play in overtime when the Bruin player, and I'm drawing a blank as to the names of everyone, but 2 players, one from each team, go into the corner boards to pick up a loose puck. The Ottawa player is leading with an elbow and should be called for an elbowing. The Bruin player retaliates, and he should have been called for roughing, but it should have been offsetting minor penalties for 2 minutes of 4-on-4 skating. The Bruins were forced into a bad position with a power play, and they had gassed their defensemen because to be fair, they are running on a lot of injuries right now. And they had to call up Charlie McAvoy, who made his NHL debut in Game 1 of the playoffs in Ottawa. And he was playing for BU in the NCAA tournament less than a month ago. Yeah, this is the only sport where that sort of thing would ever happen. And an injury situation like this is the only one in which that would ever even remotely be considered a thing to happen. So, yeah, we're not big fans of. I now like McAvoy a lot, and that's a whole other rant as to my opinions on him. But the Bruins get hosiered, and Erik Karlsson makes a great pass, and Karlsson has really been the best player in the series so far. And then the Bruins got robbed of a goal in the second period last night. Yes, I'm a triggered Bruins fan. I don't care. The Bruins get the puck in. They move it around. 20-some-odd seconds go by. Bruins get a goal, and it's challenged by the Ottawa bench because they believe that the puck was brought in offsides. And they go back and review it. And sure, when it was reviewed, the officials did miss an offsides call that happened about, 30 seconds before the goal was actually scored. And so when they went back on video review and looked back at it, that wiped off the goal that was allowed. And the review rule allows them to take a look at that sort of thing and wipe out anything that happened and effectively put 30 seconds back on the clock. So it's a terrible rule in the way that it's phrased because it gives them effectively,
Art Blanc.
Yeah, pretty much. So Ottawa got completely bailed out in that way, and then Bobby Ryan takes a pass from Carlson, and their goal was a beautiful play, beautifully set up, but it should have been the equalizer goal. It should have been a 1-0 Bruin lead in the second period, and instead it turns into a 1-0 Ottawa win in the third period of this game, and the officials have taken away two major opportunities for the Bruins in this series. And every single one of these games, and they're trailing in the series 3-1, but it's close. It is a lot closer than what the lead will let on to, because they're only down. Every single game in the series has been a 1-goal game. Every one has been competitive. This may be the best series in the playoffs so far.
Yep.
So have I been an under-controlled yet ranting Bruins fan enough for your liking?
You can go on a little bit further if you want to.
I don't feel like being that emotional. The Bruins haven't given me enough reason to be, because literally every single person for the Bruins is injured or underperforming, except McAvoy, who is exceeding all sorts of expectations, and Chara, who is playing like he's not a 3,900-year-old dinosaur. So good job, dude.
Calling the Game podcast, now sponsored by Enter Your Heart Medication right here. Your blood pressure needs to be lowered. Have you considered Drug X?
Have you also considered not being a sports fan so that you might live longer and have fewer heart attacks? No. We like having heart attacks every other minute.
That's why rioting exists.
Yeah, pretty much. Anywho, so I still think this can be an excellent series. I still think this can go 5, 6, maybe even 7 games. Well, it will go 5 games. I still think it could go 6 or 7.
I still think there's a better series, though.
I'm going to guess it's the Washington-Toronto one. Oh, that one has been outstanding.
It's 1-8.
Yeah, welcome to the NHL. Isn't this fun?
3 overtime games, 1 double overtime game. Every game is by 1 goal.
Yeah, and
we have sieves for defense and goalies in this series, folks.
Which is shocking.
I've seen paper governments that have more stability than the defenses.
And that's shocking, because Braden Holtby is actually he's a great goaltender.
Great goalie. But
I mean, Toronto has when you have Austin Matthews on your team, there's it's kind of hard to negate this. Though, interestingly enough, Washington has not been playing Ovechkin a lot of minutes in this series. Mm-hmm. And you can only look at that with a little bit of confusion and just think,
injury?
I don't think he's injured, but Ovechkin has always been known as an offensive first, second, and third player. And this is part of the reason I've never been that big a fan of Ovechkin. Mm-hmm. He is a transcendent talent. He's one of the best snipers and one of the best shooters this game has ever seen. Mm-hmm. He's a one-trick pony, though. He can't play any defense. He can carry and lug the puck through the neutral zone, but he can't or doesn't choose to play the defense needed. And whenever he does, it's messy play, to be generous. So
basically, he's the NHL equivalent to James Harden.
Pretty much, yeah. So, yeah, I've never been that big a fan of his. And I mean, I respect his game, great player, but I've never really liked Ovechkin playing. I think he had his third goal of the series. TJ Oshie has looked very good so far, and Austin Matthews is
doing his usual thing.
And then Rand Riemsdyk as well has looked very good in the series. And teaming up Matthews with Kadri has helped him. Has made him look a lot better. That top line for the Leafs is dangerous.
Yep.
And I told you at the start of this that you thought this would be a quick series.
I thought it would.
I thought this would be a good series because it's the youth versus the aged one. However, Washington does not have good experience on their side. San Jose has good experience on their side, at least recently, of making the Cup finals. Mm-hmm. Washington, pressure. They have never made the conference finals with Alexander Ovechkin. The conference finals with Alexander Ovechkin. Worth noting that sort of thing is a thing that happens. So that's tied up at 2 games apiece.
Yep.
When's the next game of that series?
Tomorrow night.
In Toronto? Or in Washington?
At Washington, 7 p.m. tomorrow night.
Okay. Game 5, or you see, game 5 of the Bruins Senators series is tomorrow in Ottawa. And there's one other East Coast series to discuss.
Carey Price, come on, man, get your stuff together. Carey, don't do this to me.
I don't know who I want to lose this series more. And yes, I'm phrasing it in that way.
To be fair, Lundqvist, you're doing a great job, man. Price, you're making me hurt. I'm conflicted, people. I'm conflicted.
You love both of these goaltenders.
I love goalies. Goalies.
Oh, they're great. They're among the most interesting people to watch. And I think you and I would both, if we ever played hockey, we both want to be goaltenders.
I used to play goalie and playing soccer, so
I would believe it.
I just love kind of like sitting in the back commanding the troops and then being like, go, and then if a ball gets kicked well, I got to play hero ball, so reach out. I'm the only person who can use my hands. Congratulations.
That helps. Or you could just play baseball where you use hands all the time, but that's not anything. Also,
the catcher.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Also, yes, we will talk about baseball at some point in the future, but right now, playoffs, that takes priority. Also, we have the whole summer when I think both of us will be around for big parts of it. We will do summertime baseball podcasts. Don't worry.
Bring your extra sleeping bags and pillows, folks. They're gonna be long.
We're gonna be here a long time. So,
anyways, so kind of looking at the Montreal New York series, it's pretty close as well.
Yeah,
only 2 overtime games, but
one of them was tonight.
Yeah, and that one New York just eked out. That means Game 6 is Saturday, April 22nd.
In Madison Square Garden.
I will be watching Mr. Price.
And King Heinrich.
You have failed me for the last time.
And yet King Heinrich.
Be gone with you. King Heinrich! All hail the king! All hail the king!
Yeah, that sounds about accurate. But are there any other players in this series besides the godlike goaltenders? There have to be, right?
I mean, okay, yeah. I mean, there are other players, but
we don't care about them.
I'm just so fixated on the goalies.
Oh yeah, and we don't care about them as much because we don't like the players as much as goaltenders. Let's just be real here.
Yeah, I mean, so we know that New York and Montreal can trade blows with each other, but I mean, looking at the game so far, it's been so. Here's the problem with Montreal and New York: they've got too many good players. I'm looking at the stat lines right now, and I think I think every goal that's scored, I think the highest number of goals scored by one player is 2, and that might be Alexander Radulov.
Brady Skehey has got 2, and I'm just happy to see Jimmy Vesey has got 2 assists on the series. Vesey, a Harvard guy who was drafted by Nashville, decided he didn't want to play for them, so he waited until Nashville's, I guess, draft rights on him expired. Well, they didn't waive him. It's just their draft rights expired because they couldn't sign him to a contract in the time that the draft rules allowed them to. So he shopped his wares around and ended up in New York, and he's, playing a pretty good situation and playing pretty good hockey at Madison Square Garden. So, good on him. You could have also been sweeping the Blackhawks while you were at it, but, works out either way, I guess.
Just take it as it goes again. This is a good series. There's fire between these two teams. I think this is going to go the distance to Game 7. So I've got my eyes on this series. And again, Price, Lundqvist. I
don't know which one you
I
want
don't.
more.
I don't know which way this is going. I genuinely don't know.
I don't either. I thought this would be one of the better series before we got things going as well. So
good on y'all.
Yeah, remains to be seen what happens out of this.
The dumpster file of the NHL playoffs is now gone away. Now we get to what we really, really like.
Dumpster fire? I thought this was actually pretty good.
Well, there are 2 series that were just like, why?
Oh, and then you see what happens. Oh.
Anyways, now we get to the NBA.
Yay, I think.
Which I think our projections lined up a little bit better with them. There's 1 or 2 that, okay, let's... You're fired. Boston, I'm sorry, you had the number 1 seed. You gave it up. You had it all.
Just go. Just go.
Okay. You're a 1st seed about to lose to an 8 seed.
Hold up there. I don't think they will lose the series.
I think they will.
And you think it'll be a sweep?
The way that they're playing, yes.
I mean, we've seen the way Chicago teams have performed at the United Center so far this postseason.
Bust out the brooms, baby.
I don't think this will be a sweep for the Bulls. 1, 2. I can be almost completely assured, and this is me having watched this team so far this season. I don't know what it is exactly, but they've almost always performed better when they've got no expectations on their back, and they have less than no expectations on their back right now. So I always hold out hope that the Celtic team can figure it out. They just won. They need to figure out how the hell to get Robin Lopez off the boards, who's been destroying them, which means basically Amir Johnson or Al Horford have to make it their solo job to just beat him up.
So even if Boston makes it, I got to give Isaiah Thomas credit. I got to give Marcus Smart credit. I got to give Bradley credit. I got to give the whole Boston lineup credit. There's one problem though. If they win, they're most likely going to face Washington.
Oh, I told you before we got the postseason started, I didn't feel good about a potential matchup with the Wizards.
That's John Wall.
Yeah.
No offense to Isaiah Thomas, but you are not going to make up, a 4 or 5 inch gap.
Here's the thing.
John Wall.
Even if he did, Isaiah is not the passer that John Wall is.
No.
And Wall can score.
And he's got Bradley Beal.
And they're going to sweep the Hawks.
Yeah. Yeah, the Hawks are kind of falling apart right
now. That's going to be an easy sweep. The Celtics and the Wizards, I would be intrigued with that matchup simply because those teams really don't like each other.
No, they don't.
But frankly, right now, Boston doesn't care about any team other than Chicago. They don't care about any team other than Chicago.
Because they're looking at a punch-out right now.
Oh, yeah. And
They came to a gunfight, and it turns out their guns firing blanks.
No, it turns out that the other team is firing an AK, and they're firing a single revolver. So I still think that, and I've always known this about any sort of sport, the team that is most dangerous in any sort of fight is the desperate one. And Boston, when playing desperate, is damn near unstoppable.
And while I agree with that, if we look at the way that they play on the interior...
Let's not.
You've got nothing.
If Al Horford can figure out something to be an inside scorer and just wear out Lopez.
If Horford can figure out how to rebound.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, right now it's Nikola
44 for them.
Yeah. Vujovic, I think. And you've got Amir Johnson and Al Horford. I'm sorry, dude. You got nothing.
This is why I've been saying for a while that I am not that big on getting a small forward. I want a power forward or a center if they're going to trade those assets.
You need someone who can pick up the boards.
I've always had this concern about this team is that when people were saying trade for Paul George, trade for Jimmy Butler, my answer to those and why I said I'm not sure because that's not going to fix the problems of the team.
Yeah.
DeMarcus Cousins would have been an answer.
DeMarcus Cousins would have changed the dynamic of the Celtics, period.
That's also a concern because Boogie's a great player, but there's a lot of great players who've come through. Bob Lanier was a great player. He wasn't a winner. Dave Bing was a great player. He was no winner. Bob McAdoo was a great player. He didn't win until he was a role player coming off the bench for the Lakers.
Yep.
So, Dominique Wilkins, same sort of deal, except he never won a title.
Nope.
So,
human highlight reel.
he had tremendous moments. I think DeMarcus Cousins is going to be in that mold of players. And to be fair, it's not all his fault. He's never been to the playoffs because Sacramento and New Orleans are not exactly good organizations. But I still am not completely sold on his personality for being championship caliber. Isaiah is a championship caliber player, I think. Smart is a championship caliber defender. Note that I did not say player, defender. Avery Bradley is a championship level defender. There are pieces on the team. I think what they're trying to go for is indirectly, they're trying to go for effectively the Pistons of the early to mid knots. In which who was the star of that team? Exactly.
I mean, Isaiah Thomas, technically.
No.
Of
the Pistons.
Of the Knots, I mean, Chauncey Billups.
Exactly.
And that's damning with faint praise right there.
I mean, here's the thing, though. Those Pistons teams made the Eastern Conference Finals every single year from 2003 to 2008, and there was no superstar. No one on that team is going to go to the Hall of Fame. Ben Wallace is the only one who has a hope and a prayer, and that's because he was the best defender in the league by far for that stretch.
Ben Wallace. I can see that. Yeah, he was a very unconventional player. He had Rasheed. He had Rasheed to help him, though.
He had Rasheed to help him on the inside, but defensively, the way he could take on Shaq. And
defensively, the way he could play 1 through 5.
Oh, Ben Wallace is one of the best defensive players ever. He's this generation's Dikembe Mutombo.
Also, fun fact, he wasn't 6'11".
He was 6'9".
He's 6'9".
And playing the center position against 7'2", 300-pound Shaquille O'Neal.
That's Dennis Rodman level stuff right there.
Oh, he was incredible. But the Celtics are trying to replicate that sort of game, I think. I don't think they're doing it intentionally, but I think that's just the way that they have developed, ultimately.
Fair enough.
But this series here is, I think, the actual test that they needed. I don't think the Celtics were tested that frequently throughout the year, other than the one time when Cleveland showed up and beat them down at home in the playoffs. I don't think they were tested that frequently. I mean, Cleveland is getting tested right now in their own series against Indy, and they came back. They've answered the question so far.
That was a 26-point differential right there.
Yeah, they came back tonight down 26 points in the third.
They killed it.
They came back. They looked great. Way to go, Cavs. You're showing that you have real playoff championship caliber metal. Good for y'all.
Meanwhile, let's finish up the East Coast real quick. It's Toronto versus Milwaukee.
And man, Giannis Antetokounmpo looks amazing. The Greek Freak looks amazing.
I mean, Giannis?
Point Giannis. He looks amazing.
He's a point forward. It's beautiful.
It's incredible. He's like 7 feet tall.
Kevin, I love you, man. There you go.
All right. And I'm just disappointed with Toronto in the way that Lowry and DeRozan have underperformed. Well, Lowry has anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just disappointed. And also, holy crap, the final score of the game tonight, 104-77, Milwaukee won. Wow. And the Raptors shot 33.8% from the field. That's bad.
Their 3-point clip is dried up.
Yeah.
Okay, so their 3-point clip is dried up. I mean, Serge Ibaka should in theory be helping them down low, but
nope.
I just don't see it at the moment.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Jason Kidd, you got a squad you're leading forward.
Yeah. Give him all sorts of credit. I mean, who was the leading scorer on the? Oh my God, Kyle Lowry was the leading scorer for the Raptors, and he had 13 points.
13.
Yep.
What happened to DeMar DeRozan?
DeRozan had he had 8. I'm gonna repeat that again. The leading scorer for the Raptors tonight had 13 points. There were 2 people who did that. Kyle Lowry, DeLon Wright, Norman Powell had 12 in 14 minutes. Serge Ibaka had 6 points.
I mean, I call it Spursian, but
that's just humiliating, guys.
What was their lowest scoring quarter?
I've just got the team box scores. I'm gonna take a quick look at the Milwaukee box score.
While you look at that, I'll just talk about the West Coast real quick.
Well, Chris Middleton had 20 points. Giannis had 9.
Middleton?
Oh yeah, Middleton has looked really good, and he shot 53% from the field. Giannis, oh boy, Giannis shot the ball 10 times, made 7 of them, got 19 points, got 8 rebounds, and got 4 assists. Oh, Middleton got 20 points, 7 assists.
Off of how many shots?
Middleton shot the ball 15 times, made 8.
That's some pretty good efficiency there.
And Greg Monroe, 16 points on 54% from the field. Michael Beasley, 13 on 5 of 9. This team is very balanced. How else did Monroe do? I'm actually very intrigued as to how he did. He got 7 boards, 9 assists from Malcolm Brogdon, who didn't shoot that well from the field. He only got 4 points on 2 of 7, but 9 assists out of him. So,
well, in the grand scheme of things, I mean, it sounds like Milwaukee just has a unit. If you're not scoring, you're passing. If you're not passing, you're rebounding.
Oh yeah.
Just distribute the load. Work everything out.
Oh yeah, it's a tremendous balance, and the way that they've got their situation working is just way to go, guys. Like, way to go.
Congrats.
So, Toronto,
I see the ship going down.
guys, you better rally for something in game 4. Like, you better rally for something more than nothing at all. I'll say again, 13 points. 1-3. Meanwhile, do you want to talk about your Spurs?
So my suspicion currently, it's not going to be a sweep.
Yeah.
Grizzlies are in the grindhouse. But, I mean, they're going to win. It's going to be ugly. These ball games are going to be ugly, slow. I read an article earlier today, and I liked it. They called it OMG, Old Man Game.
Yeah. This is why it's fun
It's
basketball.
old
at times.
school 90s. Just get down, work your way into the paint, push
Even-
out if you have to.
Even old school coaching rants.
Oh, yeah.
Take that for data.
My inner statistician is just squirming so hard at the end of that.
Oh man, it's you need moments like that.
It's-
You need to drum up the interest
that
again.
that's the round one movement. And really quickly, just going off some comments here. Yes,
Uh-huh.
Kevin, you are correct. Milwaukee's just shutting down Toronto's ability to move the ball.
Yes.
The minute you kill ball movement, DeMar DeRozan and Lowry can't get shots, and
So I've got the quarter by quarter scoring for that game.
go for it real quick.
So the Bucks in tonight's game, Bucks outscored in the first quarter the Raptors 32-12. The second one was 25-18. The third was 21-16, and the Raptors actually got 31 points in the fourth quarter to 26. So hold up. That's 31 points out of their 77 for the game. We're in the fourth quarter.
I want to ask one question real quick.
What is the one question?
How many turnovers?
That's
the big one for me.
Where's the full box score? Where's the full box score? Come on, guys, I need the full box score. Let's see.
Total turnovers
15.
15. Ouch.
15 compared to 13 for the Bucks.
11 assists on the floor for Toronto. Meanwhile, Milwaukee, 13 turnovers, but
29 assists. That says everything right there. That's turned into straight up domination. It's actually sort of
The
impressive.
interesting thing, you know who got the most assists?
Not Giannis. It wasn't Middleton. It was Malcolm Brogdon, right?
Yep.
With 9.
Mm-hmm.
So way to go, guys. Can I take a quick look at the stat
Almost
line?
also led them in rebounding as well.
Who?
Brogdon almost led them in rebounding as well.
You know, Milwaukee has quietly developed a very good team. I still think this is sort of a learning curve year. They'll go into Cleveland, and actually, I would be very intrigued about a matchup between them and Cleveland because they've got more depth than Indy.
Yes.
And I'm going to take a quick look at the box rundown for everyone. LeBron, oh my God.
This is the usual stat line.
41 points, 13 rebounds, 12 assists.
Unfortunately, though, you
Oh,
do that
my
against the West
God.
Coast team.
13 points each from Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, J.R. Smith, Channing Frye, and 12 points from Kyle Korver. 41 points, and what did he do that on shooting wise? 14 of 27 from the field.
Okay, so real quick, though.
Mhm.
Let's go to the flip side of things.
Oh, and by the way, he shot 6 of 12 from 3-point range.
LeBron.
Yep.
Whew.
Okay. And he did that dragging his team back from the dead against Indy in Larry Bird's and Paul George's house.
On the other side of the world,
On the West Coast.
we now enter the 1-8 slot of Golden State versus Portland.
You know, if Nurkic were playing, it would be a tighter series.
But he's not.
Yeah, you know. Also, do the Warriors, are they a better team with or without Kevin Durant?
I really can't tell you that.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that for a while, and I'm not sure.
It definitely changes the way they play. That I do know. But
But for the better or for the worst?
can I call them better? I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
I know that they get better floor spread. But again, the problem is when you have 5 shooters on the floor, you've got ball distribution, you can move it. But who do you give it to at that point? I mean, obviously the correct answer is the guy who's open, the guy who can get the shot off.
Which is why it's such beautiful basketball.
Yeah,
I mean,
you have to give it credit for.
Out of all the recently unlikable teams, I guess Miami being one of the more unlikable ones. I think Miami, Boston was the other super team that was developed. But I think there was a touch more respectable, because of everyone was late in their careers. Like Pierce, Allen, and Garnett were all late in their careers, and everyone knew that this was. And also, there is a different sort of respect level given to teams arranged by the players instead of teams arranged by the teams. But out of those three real super teams as of late, the Celtics, the Heat, the Cavs, and now the Warriors, so four of them, I really think that the Warriors are the most beautiful team to watch.
They're the most complete, but
yeah.
Kevin,
your friend is giving comments.
Yeah, and this is a really good comment, and I think I touched on it earlier. It's, you've got 4 ace shooters. Who do you give it to? So, he said kind of what I said. Give it to the best shot.
Yeah.
Give it to the open shot. Give it to the guy. I mean, in some cases, it's as simple as who's got the hot hand.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if Ray Allen was ever open for the Celtics and he had it going, you give it to him.
You give it to him. But he had something though.
Do you agree with it or not?
I'm not sure I agree with his assessment, though. He says Kevin Durant overall is needed.
For defensive purposes,
For defensive, yes. He is effectively their leading rebounder by hook or by crook. And
also their leading block getter.
Yeah. Now,
for this series against Portland, he is not needed. They will beat Portland. It will be a sweep. Yep. If Nurkic were playing,
it would be a different story.
It would be a much different series. But that's not the case.
The thing that he adds, though, is the scare.
Yeah.
It's the fear. The second Durant hits the floor, I mean, don't get me wrong, incredible stat numbers, incredible shooting ability. Yeah, and Kevin, he opens up the floor for others. Yeah. And so when they finally face a team that has a very good rotational defense, someone who can go toe-to-toe with him, he opens up the floor. But honestly, it's the Warriors squad. The second the Warriors hit the floor, you've got to deal with 4 ace shooters.
Yeah, that's
as opposed to
fair.
3. I mean, your shot selection is a little bit easier when you got 3, but when you've got that 4th option and you're firing on all cylinders. Whew.
I'll tell you truthfully though, the player who intrigues me the most and the one who actually makes it a lot of fun to watch is none of the guys we've talked about. It's Draymond.
Yep.
I mean, the way he played in game 1 with 19 points, 12 rebounds, however, double-digit assists.
Here's my fear. He's their linchpin. If he ever goes down in this playoff series,
in the series or in the postseason?
In the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
JaVale McGee.
Okay, so here's my deal with Draymond. I simultaneously love and hate his game. He's effectively this unit's Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
In the same way that Rodman was the glue guy for both the Pistons and the Bulls when they were winning championships. Green is that. I still think the award for Defensive Player of the Year should go to Rudy Gobert for the way he performed this season.
It's a shame he got injured. We'll
talk about that. It won't. It'll go to either Kyrie or Draymond, and I'm cool with. I think Draymond should win it this year. I think Draymond will win it this year. I think the voters will get a little bit of voter fatigue giving it to Kyrie every single year, and I think they'll just give it to. What did I say?
Kyrie.
Oh, whoops! Wow, that my mind did totally slip. Yeah, they have voted.
About to say, it's I know Kyrie's good on defense, but just hold on a second there, man.
Good. I actually no. To be fair, he did D up Steph Curry throughout that final series last year. So to be fair, so I think it'll go to Draymond. But Draymond is the person who makes them the most interesting to watch and is the most irreplaceable player because the playoffs become about who can do the dirty work. Draymond does the dirty work better than everybody else. There's a reason why back in the 96 finals, I'm going to be Mr. Historical person. In the 96 finals, Jordan was the MVP for the Bulls against the Sonics. But George Karl in the press conference afterwards said, I don't know who they voted for MVP, but Dennis Rodman won them 2 games because of his rebounding. And just go back and take a look at games basically 2 and 6. Yeah, Dennis Rodman absolutely won the Bulls those games and effectively won them the series. So, and I think Green does the same sort of deal for this Warriors team and makes them so much fun to watch. Like, watching a madman who's bordering on the line of complete genius and psychopath is beautiful to watch. So, what was your friend's?
Yeah, so he just made an interesting comment. LeBron also falls in the same category.
LeBron is
defensively. It's not the same impact level defensively, but he makes up for that with his offense, which is true. LeBron can play 1 through 5. He is like, he may not look like it. He's what, 6'8"?
He's 6'8", 6'9".
Yeah, but he's like a
tank.
Big
He's a huge. He is much bigger than Draymond in terms of just his muscle mass.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: LeBron is a consistent offensive weapon. Draymond isn't, because Draymond isn't asked to be.
But here's the thing, though: if you remove LeBron, does the same effect happen?
If you remove Draymond from the Warriors, they are a good team. They are not a championship team. If you remove LeBron from the Cavaliers, they are at best, 500 team behind Kyrie Irving.
Worst, they're better than that. They're better than that. I genuinely believe that they're better than that.
In all of the games that LeBron missed, they didn't win a single one this season when LeBron sat.
Was it just LeBron who was sitting? That's the question you have to ask yourself as well.
I think Kyrie was in for almost every single one of those.
Okay.
Tristan Thompson was in for every single one of those. Love was out for a few of them, and that was for injury purposes, or reasons rather. So I think they are at best a 500 team because Kyrie is a closer. Kyrie is not a drag a franchise to a championship level player. Kevin Love, you saw what he was in Minnesota. You saw what Kyrie was in Cleveland before LeBron came back. You saw what Tristan Thompson did before Thompson is developed, but Thompson is not a drag, is not a lead the team to a championship. And Kevin agrees with me on this.
They're not. Again, I'm not saying they're a championship team, but they're not a 500. I agree with Kevin. It's Eastern Conference. I'd say
they're the Chicago Bulls.
No,
they are the Chicago Bulls.
They've got Love. They've got Kyrie. They've got steady depth.
They have shooters. Where's the beef? LeBron is their beef. He's their muscle.
I think
he's their tough guy. I think
Love would be able to make up for it.
Assuming that they're actually intelligent enough to make the coaching decisions and move him over there, and out of necessity, they probably would. But we don't know because that's not the situation they're in. And it's not exactly a fair comparison to make. Take away the best player in the world from this team, they're going to sink and fall off a bit.
Yeah. I think the question then is how much. Anyways
so we there's other series to talk about. Which one do we want to go to next? The one where we get the MVP of the league having an awful fourth quarter and costing his team the game? Or
and the following press conference.
We already talked about the Take That for Data series.
It's also the hero. I mean, Westbrook's. The hero ball is.
All right, let's talk about it then.
You live and die by the ball, man. And your shooting percentage. He was great up until the fourth quarter, and then
he was awful. And I went back and watched some highlights of it, and you know what I thought about it? I said, "My God." Not only is this isn't even bad in an interesting sort of way. This is bad in a boring sort of way.
He's hucking him up.
He's holding the ball. Nobody else is touching the basketball.
Yeah.
In those last couple of possessions. Not only is this just poor shots, this is bad shot selection for any time in the shot clock. This is bad offensive running. This is god-awful point guard play from the supposed best point guard in the league. I mean, it was just atrocious, and the Rockets rightly made him pay.
They took advantage.
They absolutely. I'm glad they did. I'm genuinely happy that Westbrook had it coming. When he makes idiotic decisions like that, he deserves to, get shown up
Well,
by his former running mate in James Harden.
yeah.
So he did this to himself, and I don't feel bad for Russell for throwing the game away like that. I think you can tell I'm not really a Westbrook fan.
Hero ball. It's all hero ball.
I have never liked hero ball. This is the literal reason why Kevin Durant is no longer in Oklahoma City.
Because Westbrook would just start shooting.
Yeah, Westbrook chucked it up. Go back and watch the end of the Warriors series last year between the Thunder and Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. This is the literal reason. And anyone who attempts to argue that there's no talent on OKC aside from Russell Westbrook, come on, guys. Steven Adams is a real player.
Steven Adams.
Enes Kanter is a real inside scorer. Victor Oladipo is a real player.
They just got to figure out how to move the ball more.
Which means
Westbrook has to give it away.
Westbrook had an interesting comment in one of his press conferences, which is both highly coloring of him, but it is not in a good way. The comment was, I got one friend on the basketball court, and that's the ball. He played like it. Mm-hmm. He played like a selfish player in the fourth quarter, and I hate watching that sort of ball. So, I'm trying to not. I don't want to be too harsh because he is a tremendous player, and 51 points in a game is outstanding, especially in a playoff game when trying to keep up like that. And yeah, Kevin is bringing up a very good point. There were
11 shots in a row.
Yeah, Russell Westbrook took 11 consecutive shots for his team in the fourth quarter and had to have missed a ton of them last night. So I'm almost happy that he lost. I hope that Billy Donovan can pull him aside and say, Russ, stop. Just stop. This isn't going to win us games. Playing the way you did the first three quarters, getting people involved. And he had 2 assists in the third quarter. I don't think he had any in the fourth out of his 13. So
here's the stat line briefly. We got to move on and wrap up soon. But
yeah.
Last game.
It's tremendous.
17 of 43.
Yeah, and a lot of those shots came in the fourth quarter, and he missed a ton. 51 points.
But that's off of 43 shots.
Oh, and what was his 3-point percentage?
2 of 11.
Oh, that's atrocious. He's pulling up for 3 when I think Sabonis is an acceptable 3-point shooter. I think Oladipo is an acceptable 3-point shooter. Yeah. So, Russ, get your act together, dude. Just get your act together. And we're going to talk about the other series that we actually find very interesting.
So real quick, Spurs are still going to win the series, but they took their lump tonight. They're down 16.
91-75 with 6:16 left to go in the game. Yeah. This will be the first loss for the Spurs, and there's no chance that Tony Allen plays in this series, right?
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
I think he's out the entire series. So that means Kawhi is going to be let loose. The thing is, they got to make up for tonight. Ball movement.
Yeah, we're big fans of that whole concept.
All right, so last series. This one
is fun.
This is the one that I was looking forward to, and unfortunately, we mentioned it earlier, Rudy Gobert is hurt.
That takes away a lot of it. And somehow Utah still won game 1 in LA.
Utah is still scrapping and clawing for every little
Clutch Joe Johnson. He comes up with big time shots, and he has for a long while.
Mm-hmm.
Any updates on Gobert?
Gobert is out for game 3.
Of course he is. Well, and in Utah, yeah, that's really disappointing. And an 8-point victory in game 2. So, I mean,
it's going to be close still. It's still going to be close.
Yeah, this will be a good series.
I just think that Gobert could have changed the dynamic.
Yeah, the Stifle Tower is a tremendous force.
The Stifle Tower.
He's tremendous. The thing is, though, you think Gordon Hayward re-signs in the offseason?
I think he will.
With Utah? I mean, he can make more money with Utah than literally anyone else, just because of the way the CBA works out.
Exactly.
So I think he'll re-sign there.
I think him and Gobert are the franchise for Utah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, certainly Gobert is the offensive side of that, defensive side of that franchise.
Whatever happened to Dante Exum?
He's okay.
I thought so.
you have a transcendent defensive talent and an excellent offensive talent in Hayward, who I'm just. Is it bad there's a part of me that is happy that there is a white guy who is lighting it up in the NBA the way Hayward is?
No.
Yeah, I like it. I like that there's an American-born white guy who's showing that white guys can still ball. And
Just ask Europe.
American-born white guys, I said. And there is a perception that, whether fair or not, that the last truly great American-born white guy is John Stockton. Nash was Canadian.
All right, Nash is Canadian. Redick?
Good, but not transcendent level great. Like not
Okay.
not championship not championship carrying great.
You're looking for like game changer.
Yeah, and I think Hayward is a star. He's not a superstar yet. In part, he plays in Utah. Sorry, Jazz, it's not a big market. I hear it's a great city and a great state, but it's not a big place. But I'm still very intrigued to see what happens from this series, because I think if the Clippers lose, they're gonna blow up the whole operation.
That foundation is shaky right now. If they lose to the Jazz,
Redick, Paul, and Griffin are all free agents at the end of this. This is the last run, and GM Doc, boy, I love Coach Doc, but GM Doc, boy, you have been incredibly disappointing. I'm genuinely happy that when you were in Boston, you had Danny Ainge to work with as a GM, and that you were not making the trades and running the entire operation, because this isn't working with you at the helm of everything.
Well, in any event, though,
but this should still be a very good series.
I personally see the Clippers coming out on top because Gobert's not in.
Yeah, I mean that's assuming that they give the ball to Blake Griffin in the post, and that's assuming that DeAndre Jordan beats up whoever he faces. CP3 will do his thing. Yep. Redick will get his shots. The thing is, though, Jamal Crawford actually looked old in Game 2, and I got very sad when I saw that, because like, Jay, crossover. You should be crossing people over forever. So, details.
We'll take it as is.
Yeah.
All right, we're being evicted.
Yeah, the gang
in
is
my
coming
own
back
office.
in. Yeah, in your own office. You can't see him now. You can see one of them. He's back.
Hey, Matt.
Hi, Matt.
All right, so tuning out for this evening.
I'm Chris Lynch.
I'm Thomas Villalone Jr.
Enjoy, and he's Matt.
And he's back.
Enjoy your playoffs. Enjoy your sweeps. Join us in our little peanut gallery up here in a little dinky little laboratory in Boston, Massachusetts.
All right, y'all have a good evening.
Dinky laboratory.